If your cat zooms around like crazy, they're trying to tell you something. And no, it's not just that they enjoy ruining your furniture. Ever wondered why your cat suddenly goes full-speed parkour mode out of nowhere? One second they're a lazy loaf, the next they're blasting off like a tiny unhinged race car. And you're just standing there, completely clueless, like the unpaid butler you are. But here's the thing. These Zoomies aren't just random acts of chaos. Your cat is actually trying to send you a message. Since you probably don't have your feline to human translator handy, I'll break it down for you. Stick around as we count down the 12 real reasons your cat goes turbo, starting with the least surprising and building up to the ultimate mind-blowing truth. You're not going to want to miss number 1. It might just change how you see your cat forever. 12. The Midnight Marauder. Ever notice how your cat seems to come alive just as you're winding down for the night? That's not just bad timing, it's biology. Cats are crepuscular creatures, which means they're naturally wired to be most active during dawn and dusk. Their wild ancestors hunted in these twilight hours when prey was easiest to catch. And even though your spoiled house cat gets gourmet kibble served on demand, that instinct hasn't faded. So next time you hear the sound of paws skidding across the floor at 2 a.m., don't take it personally. Your cat's just living their best hunter life, even if their prey is an imaginary enemy. 11. The post-potty party. One moment, your cat is calmly handling their business in the litter box. The next, they're launching out of there like they just set off a tiny bomb. If it looks dramatic, that's because it is. But there's actually a reason behind this bizarre behavior. For some cats, it's all about relief. That fresh, light-as-a-feather feeling after doing their duty might trigger an unexpected energy boost, sending them rocketing across the house in pure exhilaration. Others might have a more instinctual reason. Wild cats needed to quickly distance themselves from their waste to avoid attracting predators. And while your domesticated kitty isn't exactly dodging tigers, that survival instinct might still be kicking in. And then, of course, there are the divas. Some cats simply hate the feeling of a dirty litter box and are so disgusted by it that they must make a dramatic exit. If your cat's post-poop Zoomies seem especially frantic, it might be worth checking if their litter is clean enough for their royal paws. Because if not, they'll make sure you know about it. 10. The Hunger Games. You know that feeling when you're so hungry you start getting cranky? Well, your cat might handle their hunger a little differently by launching into an impromptu sprint around the house. Some feline behaviorists suggest that pre-meal Zoomies are a way for cats to stimulate their hunting instincts. Before meals, a wild cat would stalk, chase, and pounce on their prey. Domestic cats don't have to work for their food, but that built-up energy still needs an outlet. That's why you might notice a Zoomie session right before mealtime. It's their version of the hunt. If your cat suddenly starts rocketing around like they've been possessed, consider it a not-so-subtle demand. Feed me now. Ignore it at your own risk unless you enjoy relentless meowing, dramatic stares, and the occasional paw to the face. 9. The Playtime Procrastinator. Ever had a deadline looming, but instead of working, you find yourself scrolling through your phone, cleaning your desk, or doing literally anything else? Your cat might be doing the same thing. Except instead of procrastinating on work, they're putting off play. Cats are natural-born hunters, but if they don't get enough opportunities to chase, pounce, and kill their toys, all that pent-up energy has to go somewhere. And often, it comes out in the form of chaotic Zoomies at the most inconvenient times, like when you're on an important Zoom call. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats who engage in regular play sessions show fewer signs of stress and destructive behavior. So, if your feline is suddenly sprinting around like they've just seen a ghost, they might just be making up for lost playtime. The fix? Regular interactive play with wand toys, balls, or even a crumpled piece of paper. Anything that lets them hunt safely indoors. Because if you don't provide an outlet for their energy, your cat will create their own, and your furniture might not survive. 8. The Itchy Sprint. Imagine an itch so intense that it makes you want to crawl out of your own skin. Now picture dealing with that while being covered in fur, with no hands to scratch properly. Yeah, pure nightmare fuel. Sometimes those sudden bursts of speed aren't Zoomies at all. They're an escape attempt. Fleas, allergies, dry skin, or even a single rogue hair tickling in just the wrong way can cause your cat to suddenly bolt as if they're running from invisible flames. If your cat is frequently zooming and immediately stopping to scratch, bite, or lick themselves, there's a good chance something's irritating their skin. Anecdotally, many cat owners have witnessed the infamous butt zoom after a flea bite. One second their cat is relaxed, the next, they've launched across the room like a bottle rocket. If this happens regularly, it's worth checking for fleas, skin irritations, or even consulting a vet about potential allergies. Because while Zoomies can be fun to watch, they shouldn't be a cry for help. 7. The social butterfly. You've been gone for hours, maybe even the whole day. You finally step through the door, and before you can even put your keys down, your cat goes into full-blown NASCAR mode, weaving between furniture and launching off the couch. Believe it or not, this isn't just chaos, it's affection. Some experts think post-absence Zoomies help cats burn off pent-up energy. Others say it's their way of celebrating. Like a dog wagging its tail, just with more furniture casualties. So, next time you come home to a feline tornado, take it as a compliment. Your cat did miss you. They just have a funny way of showing it. 6. The stress strider. Ever felt so stressed that you had to pace around the room just to shake off the nerves? Well, your cat might be doing the same thing, just with more flair and at significantly higher speeds. Cats are creatures of habit, and any change in their environment, whether it's a new pet, a visiting guest, or even rearranged furniture, can throw them into a state of unease. When they don't know how to process that nervous energy, they might resort to sudden, frantic Zoomies as a form of emotional release. A study published in Behavioral Processes found that cats exposed to unfamiliar stimuli often exhibit increased activity levels as a way to cope. It's basically their version of stress-eating ice cream, except instead of reaching for a pint of Ben & Jerry's, they sprint full speed across the house like a possessed fur missile. If your cat's Zoomies seem tied to stressful events, offering them a safe space, calming pheromone diffusers, or even just extra cuddles, if they're into that, can help bring their stress levels back down. Otherwise, be prepared to witness some high-speed anxiety laps around the living room. 5. The age-old antics. If you've ever had a kitten, you know they have two settings, adorable nap mode and absolute mayhem. Young cats are like tiny, fluffy bundles of pure chaos, bouncing off the walls as if they've been secretly chugging energy drinks while you weren't looking. This relentless energy isn't just random, it's part of their natural development. Kittens and young cats have boundless reserves of fuel that need to be burned off, which is why their Zoomies tend to be more frequent and intense. And just like human toddlers, they learn about their physical limits, or lack thereof, by running, jumping, and occasionally crashing into walls. As cats grow older, these Zoomie episodes tend to taper off, but that doesn't mean they disappear entirely. Even senior cats have their moments of youthful rebellion, suddenly deciding that 3 a.m. is the perfect time for one last sprint across the house. Some experts even suggest that occasional Zoomies in older cats can be a sign of good health, indicating that they still have the mobility and energy to engage in playful behavior. Whether your cat is a rambunctious kitten or a dignified senior, those sudden bursts of energy could be their way of showing they've still got plenty of life and speed left in them. 4. The territorial tap dance. One moment, your cat is peacefully ruling their kingdom from the windowsill. The next, they're launching across the house like a furry missile of rage. What happened? An intruder. And by intruder, I mean the neighbor's cat, a passing squirrel, or even just a leaf blowing in the wind. Cats are highly territorial, and when they spot a potential trespasser outside, their instincts kick in. In the wild, they would confront or chase off the intruder, but for an indoor cat stuck behind a window, frustration builds up with nowhere to go. That pent-up territorial energy has to be released somehow. Cue the dramatic Zoomie session. Some cat owners have even reported their cats getting into window fights, where they puff up, tail twitching, and zoom around the house as if trying to assert dominance over an enemy they can't physically reach. If this happens frequently, closing the blinds or redirecting their energy with play might help. Otherwise, just let them have their little dramatic moment. After all, every kingdom needs a ruler, and in their minds, your cat reigns supreme. 3. The lunar lunatic. Ever noticed your cat acting extra wild during a full moon? You're not alone. Some cat owners swear that their feline friends turn into little lunatics when the moon is shining bright, zooming, yowling, and generally behaving like they're possessed by some cosmic force. While there's no hard scientific evidence proving that the moon affects cat behavior, there is plenty of folklore around the idea. The concept of moon madness, or lunar effect, has been studied in humans and animals alike. Some research suggests that changes in light levels and even slight shifts in atmospheric pressure could subtly influence behavior. Many cat owners have noticed their pets becoming extra restless and prone to midnight Zoomies during certain moon phases. Whether it's an evolutionary response to brighter nights, pure coincidence, or just another layer of feline mystique, one thing is certain. If your cat is bouncing off the walls under a full moon, they might just be channeling their inner werecat. 2. The energy economist. Imagine if you spent 16 hours a day sleeping. You'd wake up bursting with energy, right? Well, that's exactly what's happening with your cat. Cats are energy conservers. In the wild, their ancestors needed to rest for long periods so they could unleash short, intense bursts of speed when hunting. That survival strategy still lives on in your domestic kitty, even if their hunting now involves pouncing on a stuffed mouse or sneak attacking your toes. The result? A cat will go from completely motionless for hours to full speed ahead in a matter of seconds. This is especially common after long naps. One minute they're curled up like a perfect little loaf, the next, they're rocketing across the house like a furry comet. The best way to manage this sudden surge of energy? Scheduled playtime before bed. If you don't give them an outlet, expect to be woken up at 3 a.m. by the sound of your cat tearing through the hallway like a stampede of tiny elephants. 1. The sheer joy jumper. Sometimes there's no deep, scientific reason behind your cat's zoomies. No hunting instincts, no territorial disputes, no hidden stressors. Sometimes your cat is just happy. Yes, cats are mysterious creatures, but they also experience joy just like any other animal. Maybe they're celebrating a good meal, loving the feel of zooming on the hardwood floor, or just feeling an inexplicable rush of excitement. Some kittens even do zoomies after positive reinforcement, like getting a treat or a cuddle session. A classic example? Ever given your cat catnip and watched them explode into zoomy mode euphoria? That same kind of uninhibited energy can sometimes happen for no reason at all. Because, well, cats are just like that. So, the next time your cat sprints around the house for no apparent reason, don't overthink it. They're not broken, they're not possessed, probably. They're just living their best life. And honestly, we could all take a lesson from that. Now, you'll never see your cat's zoomies the same way again. Whether it's energy bursts, lunar madness, or just pure joy, one thing's for sure. Cats are way more complex and hilarious than we thought. Want to decode even more of their weird behaviors? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. And before you go, what's the wildest zoomy moment you've caught your cat in? Drop it in the comments.